Hey everyone, welcome back to Wix Fix. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Ryan, and today's video is another episode of Fix Your Wix, the series where we take one of your websites and we redesign the homepage for fun and educational purposes. If you would like to be in a future episode of this series, I'll put a link in the description to a form that you can fill out. But for today's video, we are going to be designing a website for Nicole York. She is a female bodybuilder that offers personal nutritional menus and personal training programs for her clients. And I do have to say that the overall website, like structurally, looks really good. I actually like the way that this looks. I will say some things that I plan to change in the design is we have like a lot of different colors. You know, she's using like yellow and pink mixed with this like off yellow kind of color, and we have some red and stuff down here as well. So I do plan to change that a little bit in our design. And one thing I will note as well is all of the text on her website is right aligned, but that's because her website's actually in Hebrew, and that's how Hebrew is. It's just right aligned. But because I don't really know Hebrew, I'm just gonna left align the content and make it in English. But let me go ahead and show you what we're gonna be designing in today's video. So if we scroll down, we're gonna see that this actually looks really clean. You'll notice that a lot of the same structure from her website I'm actually using here. We're just kind of tweaking the design a little bit to make it look a little bit nicer and more cohesive on her website. But this is basically what we're going to be designing. And you'll also notice that we are using the color of her, I guess, attire as the accent color on the website. It looks really good here. And it also looks really good up here as well. And it kind of just brings the whole website together, I think. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. As usual, I do not plan to show how I did the header and the footer. The header is pretty basic. It's just a strip that's split into two columns. And over here on the left is the logo. Over here on the right is the menu with the little login bar. And for the footer, again, it's just a strip with two columns. This one is split like 66 and 30. Over here, we just have the form. And over here, we have the image with the scroll effect titled pan left. So that's all the footer really is. But let's go ahead and start designing the hero section on the homepage. So what I want to do is go ahead and give us some space to work with. The hero sections on your websites are typically really large. You want to grab your users' attention so that they actually check out your website more and kind of get a gist of what you're about. But what we're going to do is change the section background to an image. And we'll just select her image right here. If we go into the settings, we can go ahead and adjust the image a little bit. And we're also going to want to add a little bit of parallax just to make the website a little bit more dynamic. Perfect. Now let's add a strip. So we'll come over to add strip and we'll drag this one out right here. We want to make sure that this is set to the top, and we'll also set this to be the same height as the background. Now we're going to go into the change strip background settings. We're going to come over to settings. We'll click on the color and we'll come over to gradient. Now let's actually make each of these colors black. So we'll select each of these colors, change them to black. Now for this one on the right, I want to set the opacity to 0. Then for this left one over here, let's set the opacity to like 40. Maybe even 50. So basically what that's going to do is allow us to add content over here on the left hand side. That's going to have white text and it's still going to show. But in order to add content over here on the left hand side, we actually need to come over to layout when we have the strip selected. And then we can align content to left. And that's going to shift the grid area so that we can actually put content over here. Now what I want to do is actually just add this text right here. It's going to be a heading 1. And what does the text say? Today's impossible will be tomorrow's warm up. So what I'm going to do is say today's impossible, and I'm going to make the text white. And the font that I chose for this is called Delirium NCV. It was a free font that I found and I thought looked really nice. But we're going to bump this up to 90 pixels. And we're also going to come over to character spacing and just add like 0.15, something like that. Looks really good. Let's go ahead and expand this out just a little bit more. Then let's copy and paste this. We'll bring it right underneath, right about there. And we can say, will be tomorrow's. And we'll copy and paste it one more time. Place it right underneath. And we'll type in warm up. Perfect. And what I want to do is go ahead and grab these. We'll kind of move it over here. I kind of want to line it up with this background. I guess this is a window. So we'll go ahead and place it right about there. Then I want to add a paragraph text. Now for the paragraphs, I have been using Montserrat Light. So let's go ahead and kind of position this where we want it. We'll change the font color to like a light gray. And then we'll change the font to Montserrat Light. Now what I want to do is just add a simple button. We'll grab this one right here. We'll place it right underneath this paragraph text. We'll make it a little bit bigger and we'll change the text to choose a training plan. And you'll notice I did all caps here. So we'll need to make sure that when we add other buttons on the website, that we're doing all caps as well. But let's go ahead and open up the design. We'll customize the design and we'll go ahead and choose our accent color here. We'll remove the border. For the corners, I think I added like an 8 pixel radius to it. So it's slightly rounded, but not completely. And then for the font, of course, we're going to change this to Montserrat Light. Perfect. Now the last thing that I want to add to this section is a shape divider. So I'm going to select this shape divider here. We're going to say more shapes and I want to use the one called folder. So we'll choose this one. Now, if we go into customize the design, we want to make sure that the color is white. I want to make the height like 230. Something really big like this. And we want to make sure that the offset is set to 0. So that kind of gives us this one nice little effect. If we did it too small, you'll notice that we have multiples of like this pattern repeating, which we don't want. So that's why we're doing something a little bit bigger. So it's just one nice little effect that we have here. And this is going to act as a really cool transition into the next strip. So let's go ahead and do that. What we're going to do is add a new section. We're going to make this a blank section. And with this blank section, we're just going to use this as a spacer. So let's go ahead and set this to be like 150 pixels. Then let's copy and paste it just so we have a spacer on the top and bottom. And now we will add another section in between where our content is going to be. So you'll see we have this one and this one as the spacer, and this one is going to be for our content. So what we're going to want to do is add another text. So let's add a heading 2 here. We want this to be the same font. So let's go ahead and change the font to Delirium NCV. We want this to be the same size. So we'll do like 90. We'll go ahead and set the color to our accent color. We'll center the text and we'll add the same character spacing that we had for the other one. Perfect. And for this text, I want to expand it out a little bit. We'll make sure it's centered, or we'll change it to my method. Okay. Let's grab this text and put it at the top. And let's add a little bit of space here so we can add more content. So as you can see for this next part, what we're going to have here is going to be a repeater that shows her different like kind of services, or I guess her method, right? So what we're using here is actually a repeater, because if we use something like a strip that uses columns, then the columns can get really ugly on smaller screen sizes. So I think using repeaters that are a little bit more responsive is a better option. So let's go back over to our page that we're working on. We're going to come over to add element. We're going to do list, blank repeater, and I'm just going to drag this one out right here. We'll make sure it's centered. Let's go ahead and press stretch, and we'll stretch it to the full width of the page, but we'll add like 100 pixel margin on the end. Then what I want to do is go ahead and duplicate the item to add a fourth, and we'll make it a little bit bigger. Something like that. Great. Now what I want to do is go ahead and go into each one of these items and remove the background color. So the next thing I want to add here is going to be our little icons. So what we're going to do is come over to media, and I'm just going to drag one of these out just like this, plop it into the repeater like that. We'll make this quite a bit smaller. We don't want it to be that big. And then we'll go and center it and send it to the top. Now what I want to do is go ahead and grab this paragraph field up here. We're going to copy it. We're going to paste it. We'll bring it in quite a bit, and we'll bring it into this repeater. Now with this repeater, what I want to do is go ahead and change the text to our accent color. I want to change from Montserrat Light to Montserrat Medium. We'll make this quite a bit wider, just so we can have more text here. And let's go ahead and start changing the text. Now what I want to do is make sure that this text is centered inside of the element. Then I want to make sure that the element itself is centered inside of the item in the repeater. We'll bring it up just a little bit. Now what I want to do is come over here, grab some text. Once again, we will paste it. We'll make it a little bit shorter. Now for this design, let's make sure it is centered. And we'll lower the pixel size to like 16 pixels. And we'll drag it into the repeater right underneath the title. Okay. And basically what I'm gonna do is just copy the text from the other page. Okay, and now the last thing that I want to do here is go ahead and just change out these icons to match what they're saying. So support, we're gonna want to use like the support icon. So we'll do something like this. Nutritional menus is this one. Personal training, we'll change this one. And then the questionnaire one is gonna be another icon. Okay, great. So the next thing I want to do is go ahead and change the repeater height. So I'm just gonna come over to height on one of the items and set that to 0 to kind of remove the height. Then with the section selected, I'm going to remove the height here as well. And I actually want to add another blank section here. Now this one does not need to be very big at all, but what we're going to do is grab this button from up here, and we're basically just going to paste it here as well. And maybe we want this to kind of be about this far away from the repeater, and then we can grab the section and remove the height. Just so it looks like that, and we still have our spacing sections on the top and bottom. The next section that we're going to build is the About Nicole section. So let's go ahead and jump right over. What we're going to do is just copy this spacer, we'll copy and paste it, and then we will add a section in between here. We'll make it blank. And for this one, let's make it like 800 pixels for now. And what we're going to do is add a strip to it. So we'll go to add strip. We'll drag out the strip right here. We'll make sure it's at the top, and we'll make it the same height as the background for now, or the section, I should say. And what I want to do is remove the background color. Okay. Then we're going to come over to layout and add a column. If we come over to layout again, I want to set it to 3366. In this left column, let's change the background to an image. And I chose this image right here. And we're going to add a background scroll effect of pan right, because down in the footer, we're using pan left. So I think pan right kind of looks good. It looks like the images are going in different directions and kind of coming together. It looks kind of cool. But over here, what we're going to do is have like an about Nicole's text. So the first thing I want here is this text right here. We're gonna just basically make sure we're in column 2. We're gonna paste it. We're gonna send it to the left. And what I want to do is kind of just position it right about here. We'll say about Nicole. We'll make sure that this text is left aligned, just like that. Now I want to grab this text right here. We'll paste this text right about here. We'll resize it a little bit. Then I'm going to paste in her little bio text. I'm going to grab this button from up here. I'm going to paste it down below, or move it right below this paragraph text. Let's change the button to learn more. And since it's not that much text, we can lower the width a little bit, just like that. And the last thing I want to put here is maybe a list of her socials. So we'll grab this and just add her little social icons here. It doesn't need to be that big. I typically like doing something in the range of the 20s. I think that looks the best. We'll make sure it is kind of like aligned vertically with the button. Then I'm going to grab each of these elements and we'll group them together. Now we can grab the strip and maybe make this like 600 pixels. We'll grab this group, make sure it is centered. Then we'll grab the section itself and we'll set the height to 0. Perfect. Now that looks really, really good. Okay, the next section that we have on our example site is actually going to be like some testimonials. So on her current website, she doesn't actually have testimonials. But in a way, this is somewhat like a landing page and you're trying to get more people to sign up. So I think it's always really beneficial if you try to capture some testimonials from your clients. So let's go ahead and add a testimonial section. What I want to do here is go ahead and add a section. We're actually just going to use one of Wix's pre-built testimonial sections. I think this one looks really nice already. So we'll just go ahead and click this one and it'll put it on our page. Now what I will say is I really don't want this text here. So we're just going to remove that. We're also going to grab this slider and just send it to the top. And we're going to change the height of the section to 0, just so the only thing controlling the height of the section is the slider itself. Now I will say I'm not a huge fan of the background color. So if we go ahead and change the background color, we'll make sure that this is set to 0. But if we drag this down a little bit, let's go ahead and change the background of the section itself as well. So we'll choose a color. Let's choose like the accent color. And then let's lower the opacity like 5% and give it that really nice effect. Then we'll bring this back up. But now if we take a look at it, there's not that much space. Like the space seems a little inconsistent. So what we can do is just copy and paste this right here. And what we can do is just change the background of this one to the dark red, and we'll change the opacity to 5% to match the section underneath. Then let's copy and paste this section again. Make sure it's underneath. If it's not underneath, you can just use these little arrows to move the section up and down. But now it's kind of giving us that consistent space feeling as we scroll down the website. But a couple things you'll notice about this section is it's not using the same fonts and it's not using our same colors. So what I want to do is just click on the slider. We'll select design and we'll change these to our accent color. Just like that. Then we'll grab these text elements and we'll change this one to Montserrat medium. And we'll change this text down here to Montserrat light. And if you wanted to, you could even change this color of this design to our accent color as well. And the last section that we're going to be building for this website is just going to be a little FAQ. So let's go ahead and add a new section. We'll make this one blank. Let's make this one like 900 pixels for now. And what I want to do is come over to add apps. We'll type in FAQ. And we'll go ahead and add the site. Now it's going to add this little element right here. And all I want to do is come into the settings, go over to design. We'll remove the background color and we'll change the section category to our accent color. Let's also change the font of the heading to Delirium NCV. Then we'll change the category to Montserrat Light, just like that. Let's also change the title color to our accent color here as well. And we'll also make it quite a bit bigger. Maybe we'll do something like 60. I think that looks really good like that. Then in the question and answers part, we want the questions to be Montserrat medium, just so they appear a little bit bolder. And then the paragraph, we want this to be Montserrat light as the answer. And if there are any links, we want to make sure it's our accent color. And we'll also do that for our divider here as well. Perfect. So now let's go ahead and send this up to the top. We'll grab the section and remove the height. And all I would like to do here is copy and paste to the section. For this section, let's remove the color completely. And let's just duplicate it one more time. And we'll grab this top section right here and bump it above the FAQ. That way we just have our spacing sections here, kind of being consistent with the rest of the website. But if we go ahead and press preview, here is gonna be our design. And that's basically gonna wrap it up for today's video. If you all did enjoy, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel for more Wix and EditorX content coming out really soon. Thank you all again, and I'll see you on the next one.